Hey everybody, welcome back to Firefield Junction and welcome back to another review for you. Another loco in front of us today, as we can see, by Bachmann. It's a Class 57 and it's in the First Great Western livery, as we can see, specifically the First Great Western purple. It's 57605, specifically Totnes Castle, and yeah, this is definitely a loco that I've been after for a very long time. On and off, I suppose, a little bit, but yeah, definitely been after one of these for quite a while, definitely a few years. Been looking at getting one of these. And well, I suppose up until fairly recently, getting hold of a 57 in this livery, this was basically all you had. Really, there was no others that you could get. It was only this one that was available, and they certainly they seem to be a bit more common now at the moment, and they've come down in price a little bit as well, from what I've seen. But certainly, if you were maybe to go back maybe a couple of years or so, or even a year, these certainly weren't the easiest loco to get hold of, and they could easily command, I mean, well over the £200 mark, if you like. They certainly didn't go very cheaply, as they seem to at the moment. I say that they could still go for quite a bit, but I certainly managed to get this one for quite a good price. £136 specifically is what I paid for this loco, which certainly isn't too bad. And not only that, she's also chipped as well. There's already a decoder in there. We're flicking in the box quickly, and we can see there. So the model code for this particular loco is 32-752Y. It's a Class 57-6 diesel, 57605 Totnes Castle, First Great Western. And this loco was produced exclusively for Kerno Model Rail Centre. 21-pin DCC ready, but this loco is already fitted with a 21-pin lens decoder, actually. That's just the decoder that came with it when I bought it. And yeah, lens decoders, they are very good. They're definitely up there in terms of quality, very good performance, again, very good quality. So definitely a decoder I would personally recommend if you're looking at decoders. Yeah, definitely one to look out for. And yeah, as I was saying, yeah, getting hold of this particular loco is certainly not the easiest. And again, getting one in this livery again until recently wasn't the easiest. So obviously fairly recently, it's been a little while now, but obviously Helgen brought out a brand new batch of Class 57s, and this livery was one of them, but it was 57602 Restormal Castle they brought out. I did get I think a couple of comments here and there asking if I was going to get that loco, and I was umming and ahhing about it, but I was put off a little bit. Mainly for a start, I wasn't overly interested in getting 602, not in that livery anyway. Personally, I just had a thing really of stuff. If I wanted to get a First Great Western livery 57, I wanted this one, because I'm pretty sure this one was the last one to carry this livery before getting repainted into the latest GWR green. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. And also the Helgen model, it's not really the best. I know I don't own one, so I suppose I can't properly say. From what I've seen, it's not the best. I think the finish on them is it's not great. It's a little bit flat, a little bit flat finish. The top headlights on them don't even work, as far as I'm aware, which isn't great on a new model. I mean, come on, brand new model, and I think the RRP was probably close. I think it was close to £200, maybe about 190. And for that, and to have a feature as simple as that to not work, it's not great, is it? So yeah, I was put off a little bit by the Helgen model personally. And yeah, when I saw this come up online, and it was I didn't buy it outright. I did have to bid for it. But yeah, I thought, you know what, I'll go for it. And if I can get it for a good price, then that would be great. And I did, got quite lucky, which is nice. And here it is. So I suppose enough rambling out the way. I think we need to get into it and have a look. Oh, whoops. Bit of a tight fit on the sleeve there. I don't remember it being this time when I got it. There we go, that's a bit easier. I'm sure she's fine. I doubt that would have damaged her. So there we go, take out the block of ice, have a very quick look at these instructions. I have already had her out, by the way, before. She's already been out and had a service and been given a short running in to make sure she's all okay. And yeah, piece of report, all good there. So we won't need to do any running in with her or anything. So we'll have a quick look through these instructions if you're not familiar with them. So we can see there the instructions for the Bachmann Class 57. So you can see there the body shell. If you want to take the body off, it's just 6 screws. So there's one at each end. Then the usual sort of 4 sort of around the middle, sort of around sort of next to the bogies sort of area, if you like. So quite easy to access. Again, just take out those screws and the body comes off fairly easily. You can see a bit there about the mechanism, so typical diesel mechanism, so nice big motor in the centre, dual flywheels, drive shafts, and all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup. Any replacement parts as well, you should be able to get those fairly easily if you need to. Bit there about body removal, yeah, just remove the screws. Decoder fitting, again, it's 21 pin DCC ready, although this does actually show the old 8-pin sockets that was in these, because this model is actually quite old, 2010 is when this came out. If you look at the dates on the inside of the box, you can see there, 2010, February the 4th is the date on the side of this box. So yeah, around 15, well, just over 15 years old now, when this loco is. So I'm guessing this probably came out right around the start when Bachmann went over to 21 pin on their Class 57s, which is fair enough. Don't think there's much else really in here that we're really interested in. There's stuff in there, nothing else on the other side. I believe the other bits here is just sort of the usual sort of guarantee and stuff like that. So yeah, so don't need to look at that, so we're not really interested in that. So we can get the loco back in shots. As you can see, no accessory pack or anything. She didn't come with one when I bought her. Again, obviously being the age that she is, I wasn't fully expecting that. But I just have used a couple of sort of spare details that I've had lying around, just to add a little bit to her and sort of get her to how I want to. So we just lift her out, so try and not catch the plastic. There we go. We can put that back on there and put that to one side. And lift her up, and here she is. You have to ignore sort of, I suppose, like things like fingerprints and a few little marks here and there on the side, because see, again, she is getting on a bit now in age, so she's not going to be 100% perfect. So you can see there, I think there's a bit of a sort of glue mark there, although that might have been me when I pitched the nameplates, because she does have etched nameplates and etched number plates, which I've already fitted, as you can see. They're very good quality, actually, very nicely printed and moulded metal nameplates and number plates. If you're not confident with fitting things like this, then I would personally maybe leave it to someone who's a bit more confident. Or if you are going to fit them, maybe just try and use something maybe like blue tack or black tack, something like that. I always glue mine on to make sure they're nice and permanent, and they're definitely not going to fall off. But obviously, again, you do need to be quite confident with fitting these, because they can be quite fiddly, especially if something like this, which is, you know, half, maybe a third the size of my fingernail or my thumbnail there. Yeah, not the easiest things to fit in the world, especially if you're using like super glue or something. Yeah, you don't want to make a mess with that. I think that might have been me, but I'm not too sure. I can't remember. I don't remember this the fitting on this one going that bad. But again, you never know. But yeah, you can just see, looking at this, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. For a start, the delivery application is absolutely spot on. There's no issues or blemishes with it anywhere. The First Great Western branding is applied really well. On the ends there, you can see the lights do light up, as you'd expect, so we'll get to see those working later. The buffers are sprung. You even got a little driver in the cab, which was typical of Bachmann until, well, I suppose, sort of quite recently in the last few years, when they sort of switched over to their sort of brand new sort of Plux 22 tooling on some of their diesels. You don't really get that. You don't really get that anymore, unfortunately. And I suppose it gives the user a bit more option if they maybe want to fit a driver to another end, or they want to fit their own driver, and they can do that quite easily. You've got this little sort of snowplow here as well. This was just a spare detail that I had from another 57's detail bag, so I've just used that so I can have this snowplow at one end. Probably need to fit some maybe a chain link or sort of 3-link coupling as well, but that was something to a later stage. Just mainly want to have the snowplow on there, because I think it looks quite good. In terms of the cab detail itself, there is a little bit in there actually. You can see, I think some of the gauges and stuff do have a little bit of sort of black paint on them, so to pick them out a little bit. So it's not too bad really. Obviously, you do see better cab detail on more modern locos, but we have seen worse, which is okay. You've got the little antenna there. You've got the grills here, and these are separately fitted etched metal grills as well. You have to be quite careful with them though, because I've had these come off in the past on some of my other 57s, and well, I've had them quite a lot actually. I think it's my DRS one. I can't even begin to think the amount of times I've had to glue these grills back on that, because they just like to pop off. But these seem to be okay at the moment. I've already jinxed it now, haven't I? But yeah, bogey detail is not too bad. Obviously, none of it's really painted or anything. You can see the pickups behind it, which, well, I suppose it's not great. You could paint them black if you wanted to, but I suppose it would have been nice if they had done that at the factory. It could be worse. In terms of the bogey detail itself, though, you can see it's all nicely moulded, all very nicely applied and made. I can't see any problems with it there. Got the fuel tank in the centre there. You can see all the printed detail on that. It's got the warning signs and all the bits there, which looks very, very nice. Got a little door, access door there on the side, so to gain access to the engine room. Got a little warning sign on there as well. The rest of the roof coming down the other end of the loco. Again, very well done. You've got the exhaust there, all the riveted detail. You've got the panels there on the roof. The cab doors don't open on this loco, which is fair enough. You don't really see that feature too much. I suppose Bachmann almost never really did it. I know there was, I think, a short time where they did it on some of their older 37s. But yeah, certainly never saw it on any of these locos. You have got some nice separately fitted handrails by the door though. They are only plastic, but at least they're separately fitted, which is nice. Similar on the ends as well. Again, you've got more handrails. Again, you've got the lights as well, which again we'll get to see working later. You've got the running number, more sprung buffers, a little bit of buff beam detail as well. Actually, you can see, I think that's the ETH socket on the end there, which is quite nice. One thing you can see as well, obviously this is not the typical coupling that you would get with this loco. Normally you would get the standard tension lock couplings with these, and indeed that is what it came with. However, I fitted sort of one of these sort of hook and loop couplings, if you like. I suppose they're like Roco couplings, like a European sort of style coupling that you'd use. And the reason I've done this is because these are the style couplings that's the Hornby GWR Sleeper Mark III's use. So I decided at the time when I got them, I decided instead of changing all the couplings on the Mark III's, I'll just change the coupling on the locos. So this loco and my GWR Green 57 both have these couplings fitted. So that's in a way I can then treat it as being that they're loco hauled Mark III's. They can only run with a locomotive like this, so I then obviously don't use them or can't run them with my HTs or something. So I suppose getting a bit of realism in there, if you like. Making them basically loco hauled only. So yeah, maybe say some of you might find that a bit silly, but that's just the way I like to do things. So that's why I've done that. And just in case you were wondering, the other bogie, again, just as good as on the other one. Again, very good moulded detail, all very nicely done. And the bogie frames are quite easy to remove if you do want to take these off for every reason. Let's say if you want to service it, or weather it or something, then the clips aren't too hard to overcome. It's just a clip at each end on these bogies, which is typical for sort of most Bachmann diesels like this. If you get like a little like multi-tool knife or like a craft knife, just be nice and gentle and sort of get the knife between the bogie frame and the bogie tower, and you can overcome the clips quite easily. I'd always recommend doing it at the fuel tank ends. It's just easier to access, and then bogie frames come off quite easily. If you're gentle enough, you shouldn't damage the clips. That's what I did when I serviced this loco. I took both bogie frames off and gave everything a nice really good clean. Make sure it was all nicely lubricated, which she was. And yeah, jobs are good really. And yeah, definitely running very well. Have a quick look at the other side. So you can see there, you've got the usual sort of pipe work there on the sides. It's a little bit flimsy though. I think this one is probably a bit more flimsy than I've seen on some of my other Bachmann 57s. Especially at this end here, it's not really fixed in place. But again, I don't know if that's just how she is, or if maybe she's just been damaged previously. But overall, it's not too bad. The piping here, it's somewhat nicely moulded, a little bit, so maybe a little bit sort of wonky, a little bit warped. But it's okay, it still looks good. It's still, again, nicely moulded for the most part, nicely fitted. Again, you've got the more warning signs there. You've got the sort of little gauge there on the side of the fuel tank, which looks very good. It's even got some decoration on it, which looks very nice. Again, you've got more of the etched nameplates there. And again, another etched number plates down the ends, more branding there. Got the cam rail stripe, which is now very, very nicely applied. And you've also got the other cab as well, you can see in there. Again, the detail is just as good as on the other one. You've got some of the gauges picked out and everything. I don't think there's any cab lighting in these locos though. I don't think Bachmann ever fitted cab lighting to their 57s, which is a bit of a shame. Or did they? Is there a circuit board? No, I don't think there is. I'm pretty sure there's no cab light function on these, not that I remember anyway. But I suppose we'll see that later. You can see these switches there for the lights as well. So yes, no cab lights. If there was, then you'd have another switch for the cab lights, like a lot of other Bachmann's diesels do. But on this one, you've just got this switch here, which is, I believe, just for analog users, which allows you to turn off the tail lights if you don't want them. So let's say if you're hauling something with this loco all the time, and you don't want to have the tail lights on, you can just flick that switch off, and that means you will then only get the headlights, depending on which direction the loco is going in. Which is quite nice. Obviously DCC, you can still use that as well if you want to. You can just turn that off, and then again you can still turn on the headlights, obviously as you want to. But even with some decoders these days, you can just fit the decoder and you can turn the tail lights off separately via a decoder, or you could rewire it inside if you wanted to. There's a few options there, but obviously these switches are the easiest one to go down. But yeah, overall, it's a very nice loco. The Bachmann 57, there's definitely nothing really wrong with it. Maybe it would be nice to see it come back again in some more liveries. Bachmann haven't really done the 57 for a long time now, really. They have, well, I say that, they have, I think, done, they did do another release of them a few years ago. I think it was mainly like a West Coast Railways one, I think that they did. But they certainly haven't done a large batch of these recently. Haven't seen it properly in the range for a little while. So it would be nice maybe to see them do a few more of them. Maybe again bring this livery back as well. Although I doubt they will do another run, considering the Helsion have just done theirs. But yeah, either way, a nice loco, very nicely weighted as well. Basically your typical sort of diesel from this era. Obviously not quite up to the standards of some of your more modern diesels, let's say from Akira Scale or Cavalex these days, or even Bachmann's very latest locos, like their latest 37s and 47s. But still, they're still not too bad. They still have their place. Definitely still very good quality overall. So I think what we need to do now is head up to the layout, put her on the track, and see how she runs. Okay, so here we are. So if we just grab her and we'll get her on the track. Shouldn't be too hard to do. And that's one bogey. Get the other one on. And there we are. I believe we're all wheels on. Let's just doubly check. Yes, we are. We're all good to go. That's all good. So obviously again, she is chipped. 21 pin lens decoder in there. So let's just select her number. There we are, and then let's get those lights on if we can. Oh yeah, there we go. So we've got the tail lights on there. If I just move her down a bit, don't think you can see them very well. There we are, they are on. I don't think the camera's picking them up in the best lights, but they are on, they're working very well. Let's change direction, get those headlights. There we are. And yeah, very nice colour temperature, nice brightness as well. Yeah, very, very nice. Obviously it's just a shame we have like no other lighting functions like cab lights or anything. I mean, it could be worse, it could be no lighting at all, or it could be like the Helsion version, where the top headlight doesn't even work. So, yeah, despite this loco being about 15 years older than the Helsion version, already the lighting package is a hell of a lot better, certainly in my opinion anyway. So let's just give her a quick wiggle and check that she still works. She should do, she only last ran about a couple of weeks ago. So let's give her a quick wiggle. Yeah, not too bad, let's go a bit faster. Oh yes, very, very nice. Very smooth, very quiet as well. Obviously part of this performance will be down to the decoder. Obviously it won't be fully down to the loco itself. But I'll see, yeah. beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Yeah, just as good in the other direction. Yeah, maybe a little bit noisy in that direction. I can certainly hear the gear train a little bit more in that direction actually at that speed. Oh, stop. Please stop. Thank you. And that was my fault. Let's bring it back the other way again a bit. Try and go a bit faster this time. Yeah, bring it to a stop again, and we'll put her back in shot. Yeah, she's definitely a bit noisier in that direction. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if it's the gear train or the motor. It might be the motor actually. But yeah, it could be worse. Definitely have seen worse performance than that. But yeah, overall, yeah, can't complain about that really. Again, very smooth, very consistent. Yeah, not too bad really. So let's get her up to about 50% speed, get her running around the layout and see what she's like. Well, she's handling the layout absolutely perfectly. No derailments, no slowing down, no stuttering. Absolutely perfect. Wouldn't expect any less really. And I certainly haven't had any issues with any of my other Bachmann 57s either. Always been very reliable models, always run very well. Yeah, absolutely excellent. Definitely a loco I can recommend, definitely. If you need a 57, I would definitely recommend the Bachmann one. I wouldn't personally bother with the Helton one unless there's a livery from there that you'd specifically need. Although I think there's only maybe 1 or 2 liveries in Helton's latest batch that Bachmann haven't done. I believe there's also the LSL black one, 57311. I know that's never been done before because it's only been in that livery a year or so, maybe a bit more. It certainly hasn't been around. It certainly wasn't around when Bachmann churned out a few 57s. But yeah, absolutely excellent. Definitely recommend one of these, especially this livery if you need one. It looks absolutely beautiful. Obviously, it is my favourite livery ever, so maybe I'm being a little bit biased there. But yeah, definitely recommend one. A beautiful model, beautiful runner. It looks absolutely beautiful as well. Yeah, an all-round great model. Really excellent.
So now let's do some ratings for the Bachmann First Great Western Class 57. The detail on this loco, overall, I can't really fault the detail on this model to be honest. Only a couple of things I would say let it down slightly. The lack of cab lighting on this model, certainly a feature that we pretty much always see today. Obviously this model is quite old, so it's fair enough that it hasn't got it. But then again, there were models around this age, especially from Bachmann as well, that did have this feature, so to not see it on this model, maybe a little bit disappointing. Certainly not a feature that bothers me too much because I never use cab lighting, to be honest. But still, it would have been nice maybe to see it, and it wouldn't be overly hard to fit it, I would say, if you wanted to. I would also say it would be nice if the cab detail was just a bit better. It's certainly not terrible as we saw. There was a little bit of detail in there, a little bit of painted detail as well, so it's certainly not the worst. We have seen worse on other locos, but certainly compared to modern standards, certainly not the best cab in the world, I would say. But for the most part, everywhere else, it is really good. We've got extra grills on the roof, you've got loads of detail on the bogies as well, all different details picked out as well in various places. Yeah, for the most part, it's very good detail, just a couple of minor things I think let it down ever so slightly. Performance-wise though, yeah, can't fault it at all. A beautiful runner, very smooth and consistent at all speeds, maybe a tiny bit of noise in here and there, but you tend to get that from most locos anyway. Overall, all-round amazing performer, really can't fault it there. Quality-wise, again, for the most part, very good quality. It feels very sturdy in the hands for the most part. Very good quality mechanism as well, very smooth as we saw, again very smooth and quiet. The only thing I would say quality-wise for me that lets it down slightly, I think it's just the plastickiness of some of the details, many of the handrails I would say, and that piping just above the fuel tank. Whilst it is very nicely moulded and they are very nicely fitted, they still do feel a bit flimsy, I'm thinking more towards that piping on the fuel tank. It does feel quite flimsy under the fingers or thumbs or whatever, depending how you're holding it. It feels like if those were made of metal, they would feel a bit more sturdier and they would be a bit more robust as well. So only a tiny little quality issue for me, I would say. It was typical, and I suppose it still is typical these days for details like that to be made of plastic, but it would be nice to maybe see them made of metal, and they can warp a bit as well, and certainly on this loco they are a little bit warped. But yeah, apart from that, I'd say quality everywhere else, as I've said, is very good. Again, very well built everywhere else, and yeah, it feels very nice to study in the hands. Very good quality finish and paint job as well. Yeah, only again a couple of minor things maybe here and there that let it down, I would say, quality-wise for me. But yeah, overall very good. And value for money then finally, I just can't fault the value for this. For what I paid, £136, DTC fitted as well. Really good price. Very I think lucky to get it for that price. I have seen them sell for less than that though. So maybe not the best bargain in the world for one of these, but certainly for what I paid, I think the decoder on its own can cost maybe £25 to £30. So even if we say at the absolute lowest, £100 for this loco, at the absolute lowest, maybe 105, maybe being a bit more realistic. Yeah, still a very good value, amazing value for one of these, and I suppose any sort of diesel loco in general, yeah, really good value, can't fault it there at all. That's an overall score of this loco then of 9.5 out of 10. I think very well deserving. It's a beautiful, beautiful model. Obviously, it is a little bit old and it is showing it in a couple of areas, but for me personally, for the most part, yeah, very well deserving score. An amazing logo. Definitely recommend getting one of these if you can. Really, really excellent addition to any sort of collection.